It's time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. We are at episode number 33. We're recording this live between Asif and I only, for our eyes only right now. It is Friday evening, July 8th, the 8th day of July. Hot, hot, hot summer day in Ontario. We're loving it. My name is Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv and at Rob Woodbridge, and I'm always joined by the one, the only, the man of location,
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association.
Found at the LBMA or thelbma.com or both. And of course, you can follow Asif at Asif R. Khan on Twitter or at AsifRKhan.com. I keep forgetting about that one, Asif. We got to promote that as well.
Yeah, we got to push that out. Yeah.
It is where you blog, anyways, where you espouse knowledge, your knowledge about the location-based marketing industry. And that's what we're here for. Just to remind you, we give you the top stories that you should know about on your commute in on a Monday morning. And these are all fresh stories because it's Friday. We usually do this on a Sunday where, you know, the news is settled a little bit. But today is Friday. It's the only time that we can get together, so we're going to take this opportunity to do it. And, same information, just a little bit fresher, top of mind, shall we? Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. And we might as well just jump into it because we got to cover this in a short period of time, and I don't want to speak at about 1,000 words a minute. So, Asif, let's talk about the first story today. This is a company called Point that announced a service called Interact. Let's talk about this. This is mobile shopping.
The company's Point Inside.
Point Inside, yes.
And so these guys are out of Washington, Bellevue, Seattle area. Been around for a while. They focus on indoor location. That there's this whole growing space of kind of indoor GPS, indoor location services. Some are based on Bluetooth, some are based on Wi-Fi. These guys use Wi-Fi to effectively triangulate the position of the customer in the store. Shopkick's also in a similar category of indoor location, and so they announced. So they've been out for a while. They've been in this kind of indoor navigation and mapping space. So they've been working with shopping malls and airports and basically providing heat maps and indoor navigation services around being able to find where things are in the stores or in the malls or in the airports. So if you're looking for something, they can bring you a map, and in real time you can follow and kind of find it through your mobile application. So that's what they've been doing up until now. And the new announcement is they've announced this platform called Interact, and this is basically layering mobile shopping on top of this navigation indoor mapping platform.
So is this a product discovery, or is this per store? Does it work the same way as all the other geofencing applications that we've seen out there?
So it works off of Wi-Fi triangulation. So one of the interesting things about this is that they use actually public Wi-Fi that's available. So in a lot of stores, in a lot of retail environments, in shopping malls and so on, there's already a lot of Wi-Fi out there that's being used for point of sale and for other things that the individual businesses are using it for. And even if it's locked, so it's private, they can still ping it, so to speak, and use it as a way to triangulate somebody's position. So they don't have to. One of the advantages these guys have is they don't have to go and kind of install a whole bunch of new Wi-Fi routers to operate their system. They can piggyback off of the existing infrastructure that's already there.
So this is still getting. I mean, that's a really great competitive advantage. This is still getting crowded, though, isn't this space?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, there's we've talked about this before, but there's kind of the two big buckets of service offerings out there. There's all the guys that are focused on driving traffic to the door of the store, the Foursquares and scavengers and all that kind of stuff. And those are all primarily GPS based or cell tower triangulation based. And then there's a whole wave of guys like Point Inside, like B Media we talked about the other week, like Shopkick, that are all focused on how do we actually increase dwell time in the store? How do we increase basket size? How do we deliver offers that are relevant based on somebody standing in front of the Pepsi display? And that's when we're going to push them to
time
keep
of
on
day,
that kind of thing.
Temperature outside, yeah. Well, I certainly the more services like this that come up, the more it kind of validates everybody's business. And then the question is, obviously the great thing about it is the metrics that it drives. You can actually watch to see the impact that this is making on the revenue model, on the revenue of the stores. So
absolutely,
this is launched. Did they say where it's launched, or is it just?
I think it's widely available. I didn't see any
any limitations.
Specific, only available in this city or that city or anything like that. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So another one of these
that's
guys.
Point Inside platform's called Interact.
Yes. In Canada, it's tough because there's our debit system is called Interact.
Without the T.
Yes. But Interact makes sense, especially when it comes to mobile commerce and what they're doing. All right. Second story, Tata. Tata launches the services.
Yeah, Tata, the powerhouse of India and the telecom space, has basically launched a suite of enterprise location-based service offerings. And so this is everything from vehicle tracking, fleet management, asset tracking, basically tracking of people,
kids,
vehicles, places, kids,
animals,
find an ATM, workforce management. They've got all sorts of examples here of how you can use this stuff. And so it's a pretty wide platform. What's unique about it, or a little bit different about it, is that it's not completely based on GPS or completely based on cell tower. They're combining a whole bunch of technologies together, and so they focused on a GPS or assisted GPS here as one of the key differentiators. They're saying that they're the first to do this in the Indian market, and so I think this is a pretty powerful suite of services. If you're a business in India and you want to leverage location, I mean, you now have a whole bunch of tools available to you.
So and Tata doesn't seem like these guys mess around. It's like,
no,
we're not gonna dive gingerly into this. We're gonna turn around and we're gonna do everything even from fuel consumption and monitoring and as you said, fleet management. Especially in that market, it's big. Do you know any numbers about what kind of location-based services and the reach that it would have in India, for example?
I haven't seen any recent numbers, but I did see some numbers, towards the end of last year that we're looking at and talking about, numbers in the neighborhood of about 10 to 15 million users of systems such as Foursquare at this point in time on the consumer side. But the enterprise market is so much bigger.
It is.
When you look at it from a corporate asset tracking, vehicle tracking, workforce management, Salesforce automation. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with this.
And especially if Tata's already in there into some of these larger enterprises, which they are,
right.
They just basically turn on a switch and it's activated. And if they can make it that simple, why would any organization not go with these guys because of their track record, right?
And the assisted GPS piece, is really interesting because back to the previous story, it actually combines indoor and outdoor location, all together, because they can do that assisted GPS piece. And I think they're actually working with Qualcomm, from what I read, in order to achieve that.
Wicked. I mean, Tata, they don't step in gingerly. It's not like a tepid, like, hey, how's the water? Is it nice? Is it warm? No, it's hey, 2 feet in, I don't care. Cannonball.
Yeah.
That's what Tata just did in India. The cannonball of mobile location-based services. So they launched their LBS service for enterprises, and that's going to be interesting to watch because I think that whatever they do could pave the way for North American or European carriers to do the same thing. So it's probably a good lesson to watch.
Yeah, and I think there's like I said, huge opportunities. We've talked about it before for the carriers to really take control of this market.
Somebody's listening to you, Asif. Hey, if anybody's listening to this from Tata, you owe Asif like what? Something.
$2.
$2. That's right.
Yeah, $2.
38 rupees.
Yeah.
Third story, a short one really, is that Foursquare finally ports over to Windows Phone 7. Foursquare gets over to Windows Phone 7.
Yeah, so this is, not a big story here, but the big story is
big
that
to Windows Phone 7 users.
It hasn't been available for a while. Foursquare, that is, on the Windows mobile platform, and so they basically kind of redesigned it, come up with a new offering, and it's I don't know, you should Rob, when we post this, you should put up the screenshot because it's really cool.
Okay.
Foursquare actually looks really cool now on Windows Mobile 7.
And they're looking at it right now. Everybody just go, ah. See, it's cool.
It is cool. It is cool. So they've got, like, if you're not familiar with that system, it basically allows you to kind of stretch out along kind of almost like a landscape graphic and scroll across screens, in a horizontal mode, and kind of move through the different screens of Foursquare that way.
Well, I love. If you're going to build for platforms and you're going to do it right, you've got to make sure that you build for the uniqueness of each one of the platforms. And I think that's what Foursquare did. It took them a long time to get there, though.
Yeah, and I understand one of the key features of this particular version is that you can actually check in via tap and hold.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So, yeah, it is cool.
Pretty cool. It's like Instagram. Everybody's favorite photo sharing. As soon as they added this simple little feature, which is who knows what those little features are going to be, where you double tap the image to like it. It just seemed like likes went up, and it's the same thing with this. When you're talking about location-based services, the simpler you can make it to actually check in and do the things that you want it to do, the better. Yep. And so good on Foursquare. I'm pretty sure we'll see that brought over to the Android and the iPhone.
Yeah, I would think so. But anyways, nice to see somebody developing for Windows Phone 7.
Windows Phone 7. Mark our words. That platform's not dead. Yeah, they built for BlackBerry, so they should build for Windows Phone 7. Well, we're cruising here. Maybe I feel like we should slow down a little bit. Just joking.
Let's not do it.
Fourth story this week, CardFlick in beta.
Yeah, so CardFlick. So this is a new product. It's an iPhone-only product. It's in beta, as you said. So simply put, this is proximity or location-based business card sharing application. We've seen this before, I think, haven't we?
Well, Bump, I think, is a perfect example of what this application, when you walk up, Bump's the technology or the application where you walk up to somebody and it's the physical movement of the phone, and when you bump them together, it transfers your business card.
Yeah. So the only thing I see in here which is interesting for me is, you see people around you. You say, "Hey, I want to share my business card with that person." When you're at an event or whatever, which is good.
Yep.
But it also keeps a history of where and when you met that person.
Right.
So when you pulled up that virtual card later on, okay, well, I met so-and-so at this conference and da-da-da-da, or I saw them again at this conference, da-da-da-da. So you have this kind of location log, so to speak, of your interaction with that individual.
So instead of writing on the back of the card, right? Like you used to.
Exactly. So that's kind of interesting. But for me, and we talked about this with one of the products last week. To me, this is not a product. It's a feature.
Yeah.
And
it's a feature of LinkedIn. It should be.
Well, it should be either LinkedIn, or we keep talking about that, or the guys over at Unsocial.
Yeah.
Should just plug this right into it, and you're done, because it's they're already doing that.
They are. Yeah. Any of the conferences. So maybe CardFlick's Play is an open API or a paid for API to integrate their technology or their capability as a feature into another product.
But if you're listening, CardFlick, go talk to Unsocial.
Yeah.
You guys should hook up.
Or if you really want a great exit, go talk to LinkedIn. They got some cash, I heard, right?
They got lots of cash.
They got some money. But so CardFlick, it's cardflick.com, is that right?
I think so.
Okay, it's cardflick.com. The demo is great. The video I love. It's just a great way to. It seems simple, but again, it's another one of those places where I have to be using it. You have to be using it. Everybody has to be using it in order to be able to transfer those cards over. And sometimes it's just easier to pull out a business card, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you solving a problem? I don't know.
It's actually CardFlick. I just checked it again. Sorry, it's cardflick.co.
.co, yes.
Yes, not com.
CardFlick.co. So go check them out, support them, and if you're listening to us, CardFlick, we can help you figure this out. Give us a call, drop us a line, send us some email. I love innovation. Speaking of innovative companies, Scavenger. It's been like 4 weeks since we talked about them.
Yeah, and they haven't rested on their laurels. They've been out signing new deals, and we're not going to talk about this one today, but they've got a nationwide thing in the U.S. going with Coke, which is really interesting. But the one we do want to talk about is a new partnership around the Sasquatch Music Festival, which runs on Memorial Day weekend in the U.S. and it's a partnership with Esurance. So this is your auto insurance company that you know and love, Esurance. And
they're
so
not even sponsors
of
this show. They're not even sponsors of this show.
I know.
Yes.
But interesting partnership. And so Esurance is one of those companies where they've kind of built their brand or kind of positioned their brand around being green and being socially responsible and all that kind of thinking. And so they figure, okay, well, let's partner up with the music festival. Let's work with Scavenger to run a bunch of challenges so that the music lovers and people attending the festival can complete some challenges, and we'll reinforce this kind of thinking. So it's all about the greening of the gorge where this is happening, recycling programs, encouraging carpooling, making the festival carbon neutral. It's very much focused on being green and environmentally friendly.
I love that idea, the gamification of the environment. In a good way, right? And so you can see some of the examples that could come up out of this is, take a picture of yourself, putting your water bottle into the recycling bin or something like that, right? That you get points for, and if you have to put a game layer on top of the world like Seth wants to do with Scavenger, you might as well do it for social good, and peer pressure always helps when it comes to these things. Yeah, really neat idea.
Yeah, and Scavenger's been consistent in running really simple, easy challenges for people to do that just kind of reinforce the brand. So the ones that they've done for this are, just going to read off a couple of them, are so the first one called Cool to Be Green. You find one of the Esurance recycling posters, pose next to it holding something recyclable. Take a photo, basically. Yeah. The other one's called Your Input. Now that you're a Sasquatch expert, tell us how you would make the festival better. And then the third one's called Keep Hydrated. You can enjoy free water anytime at a water filling station. Ask for locations at the Esurance guest services tent. Then snap a pic refilling a water bottle. Yeah. So simple stuff, but reinforces the brand and reinforces being green.
Can you win anything on this, or I mean, what's is there anything that you get as a result of doing this?
I think you get that personal satisfaction that I'm actually kind of being noticed for doing the stuff I probably do anyways. Yes.
Or hopefully it's altering those people, their behavior, who don't do this normally.
Right.
Interesting. I just I think that it adds another layer, and I love it. And simply making it simple is what is key, and that's what Scavenger is simple. People, I get a lot of criticism for people who come up to me and say, Scavenger, it's boring, and it's this. Why do you guys cover it so often? And the response is that it resonates. It's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated for it to be great, and that's the beauty of Scavenger. It is not complicated. It's a game you played when you were a kid. You did these things when you grew up. There's races all around North America and around the world that do scavenger hunts to this day. It resonates, and if I have to stand on one hand and balance a glass of water on my foot and hum the national anthem, that's too complicated for me.
And we've talked. I know Foursquare's got. I need to actually get updated on this myself, but I know Foursquare's got a deal with Endemol to do a kind of a TV series. Some kind of reality TV series about checking in. But to me, a better TV series would be to actually Scavenger, with these brands, and actually, kind of keeping record of what's going on at these festivals and how people are engaging with it. And, I'm sure Esurance and Coke and all these guys would love to kind of leverage their brand that way, and push that out as sort of, reality TV. It's kind of like, what's that show?
The Amazing Race.
No, yeah, but it's like it's Amazing Race plus what's that show where like they go the CEOs go stealth mode.
Undercover Boss or something. Yeah, Undercover.
So it's like Amazing Race plus Undercover Boss.
Yeah,
in my view.
Yeah.
With Scavenger, that to me would be a show that people would watch.
Well, I think that and you could follow it in real time. So even as the production schedule is going on right now, it might not be broadcast till the fall, but you could get an engaged audience today just by following what's going on with the scavenger hunts and that kind of stuff. I mean, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. And so, Seth, if you're listening and you want some help putting that together, we got lots of brands and members that we can help bring to the table, and let's make it happen.
I know Seth's listening. I know Seth is listening to this. I know he is. Seth, my mom, your mom, a couple other people.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the few.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
We have hundreds of people that listen to this. Don't kid yourself, Asif. Our Nielsen rating is going up. That's it. 5 stories. Point Inside launching Interact. Not Interact, but Interact. Tata launching the Enterprise LBS services, which is going to be very cool to see if you're a North American carrier or any other carrier around the world. This is going to be a key test to see if it actually can work at the carrier level, which we think it can. Foursquare finally jumps onto Windows Phone 7 in a very unique way. CardFlick out with a beta launch. I guess that brings a whole new term, which is flick off, right?
Yeah. Hey,
I don't know.
I like
that's what happens when you don't want to accept a card. It's like flick off, right? Anyway. And Scavenger and Esurance at the Sasquatch Music Festival doing what they do best, which is the simple scavenger hunt. 5 stories, like 17 minutes. Beauty! Let's talk about funding, man. Big week for a company called Zong.
Yeah, so Zong, this is a mobile payment technology platform. Been around for a while. Been acquired for $240 million by eBay. And this is really interesting because it kind of when you look at the mobile payment space today, and you look at things like tabbed out, integrated with PayPal. You look at some of these things we've talked about in the past. While we're all waiting for NFC to hit, and it's coming, and it's coming fast, but it's still going to take some time. There's this great little intermediary thing that we can do today called PayPal.
Yeah.
From the mobile device if we do it right. And so I think Zong plus PayPal is really interesting. And then when you kind of layer on top of that, so just if you're not familiar with Zong, for listeners out there, these guys, 250 mobile network operators around the world are already tied to, in 21 languages, 45 countries. So these guys are established. Okay.
Yes.
You layer that on top of 100 million users that PayPal has already. That's a pretty powerful combination. The next thing is that you look at some of the relationships that eBay's already established in terms of other acquisitions. They bought Where, which is a local deal platform, a local check-in platform similar to Foursquare. Acquired them a few months ago. They bought Milo. So these guys now, if you look at kind of the portfolio of what eBay has, these guys are, in my view, super well positioned to kind of lock up a big chunk of this market.
Well, probably the outside of the credit card companies themselves and some of the bigger players along mobile transactions, there's nobody better suited. I think, I'm Amazon. I'd be looking at these guys like, we got to start thinking about our defensive stance on this. One of the great things about Zong, though, as well, is the fact that it integrates with a carrier billing, right? And that's what PayPal needs. It's like, so you can either pay by PayPal or just pay right on through your carrier billing, which is
absolutely
powerful.
Right? So when you think about so let's just add the Where piece into the equation.
Yeah.
So or think about something like Placecast.
Yeah.
Okay. So in either scenario, whether it's GPS or it's cell tower triangulation, it's location. So you show up at a retailer, you show up at Marks and Spencer or Debenhams in the UK or the Gap or wherever, and they push you a deal over the app if it's Where, over the SMS if it's Placecast, or whatever it is. You get this deal and you go, hey, that's cool. I want to buy that thing. I want to do that right there. And then you have this option fully integrated into your mobile device. Hey, I can pay for it over PayPal, or I can bill it to my carrier bill. I mean, it's a complete cycle right there. And you don't even need NFC yet.
No. Well, you don't. I think that frictionless payment is what iTunes has done so well, is that whether they have a mechanism on the other end, which is a credit card or a gift card, it's a stored balance. It makes buying so much easier when all you have to do is click once, right? You don't have to do anything, And I think that's, if NFC is going to dominate, really, whatever, going to replace the wallet, going to replace credit cards, I think that there's a paradigm that we're missing here, which is the one-click purchase. Amazon's done it right. iTunes has done it right. PayPal's building that right now, which is like, don't even worry. It's like Magic Pay, right?
Yeah, no, this to me is a perfect synergy of companies that they've assembled here. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
These guys are going to make a killing in the next couple of years off of this, and good on them. Unlike our good friends, Mr. Zuckerberg over at Facebook, who's gone back to 1996 and reinvented chat rooms.
Yes.
This week. So
just a response. I mean, it's a simple response to Google+.
We're not even going to talk about that story because it has nothing to do with location, really. And I so what? Now we have a chat room in Facebook.
Yes.
Whoopee. Anyways,
I'll connect with you later on that. We'll jump on Facebook and chat.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Second deal. So PayPal acquiring Zong for a quarter of a bill, basically. A nice round number. And again, here's a lesson for all those guys that have companies out there that are getting offers. Sell. Groupon. Sell.
Yeah.
Hey. Don't be too greedy because you can always start something else with a little bit of money after you take a long vacation. Second funding and last funding deal is Dealised. Raises a paltry $5.3 million.
Well, compared to a lot of the numbers we've seen lately, this is nothing, but it's still good.
Yep.
So Dealised is a group buying platform, but it's kind of the white label OEM platform behind a lot of the other group buying platforms. So this is 5.3 million Series A, funded by Singtel Innovate. Okay, so these guys are based in Singapore. So they, well established in the Asian market.
Yeah.
Not so well established here, but active in the UK, active in Scandinavian market, the Middle East, a little bit in the US. And so they power some of the deals behind the Daily Telegraph. Mecom uses them. A few companies use these guys. So yeah.
So 5.3. I mean, this is just expansion, obviously.
This is expansion. Yeah.
Well, and that's still, I think that's a lot of money for a software play, but I keep coming back to it is that, these deals that have been going on, on one side, the valuations are crazy. The amount of money that's floating around here is nuts. But on the other hand, as an entrepreneur, I say take as much as you can if the valuation is right. So take as much as you can if the valuation is right. And
absolutely, right? I mean, and some of the guys that they've powered, like they powered a company called Spreets in Australia. And Yahoo bought those guys for like $40 million.
Yeah.
So, obviously they're doing something right.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. And the money's out there, man. We went through a dry spell, so do what you can with the revenue, with the money that you can get. And there's lots of it out there.
Cool.
So that's great. Dealised raising $5.3 million, and it's good to see that the dollars are spreading not just in Silicon Valley or the U.S. and Canada. It's spreading all over the place, which is great. It means that it's a worldwide phenomenon or a massive worldwide bubble. We'll live in both.
Mm-hmm.
So our product of the week, Roamler. ROAMLER.com.
Roamler.com. So these guys are interesting. They're out of the Netherlands, and one of the guys that was brought to my attention through our Amsterdam chapter. So this is about exploring your local neighborhood, roaming, Roamler. But it's about asking questions about tasks that you can do to make your neighborhood better. Whether that's, how can I make my town better? How can I, find something I'm looking for in my neighborhood? How can I, just contribute and not just contribute based on your location, but also be rewarded or actually get paid for doing things.
Making the moolah.
So
yes.
We've heard a lot about these kinds of, local employment type of initiatives. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Well, I interviewed Ariel Seidman, who is the founder of GigWalk, which is a U.S.-based version of this, and even interviewed AirRun, which is based out of Chicago as well. So they're kind of, I love this, and my optimism shines around companies like this because there is a lot of burstable talent out there, and the interview I did with Ariel is not up there yet, but there's a clip on Untether.tv, and we talk about this, and I think that this is exactly what Roamler is into. Is listen, there's tasks that need to get done that are everyday tasks that you pay somebody to do. This is a great way to find somebody who's nearby that can do it, but what it also enables are companies that would never have done these tasks, like a massive chain of restaurants, for example, hiring a local workforce to check to see if there's any litter in front of the restaurant.
Yes.
Right? They would never send people out to do that. And usually what happens is that there's a complaint that happens and they fix it as a result. But now you can be proactive at a very low cost to send somebody who's in the neighborhood by that place once every 3 days, take a picture of it to make sure it's okay, upload it, and pay that person $5. And I think that really is, it opens up massive opportunity for burstable income for people who are unemployed or underemployed, and a great way for companies to leverage this massive walking workforce that's carrying cell phones. I like these kind of services.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it too. I think these are great. And the other nice thing about the Roamler platform is the more jobs you do, the more experience you gain on the system, and so they actually track. They basically give you what they call experience points, and so you get a ranking, so to speak, or status as to how experienced you are at doing jobs on the system, and so that factors into your profile when people are looking for people to take on jobs. So,
and I'm sure that you start at a low price, and then as you get the experience, your per diem or your wage, so to speak, goes up to a point where, based on your experience and the credibility of who you are, your reputation. So Roamler.com, I like these kinds of services. A lot of criticism. I mean, I think that this is kind of if you have enough of these going around, they're recession beaters, right?
Absolutely. So absolutely. And not only are they recession beaters, I think it also creates interesting opportunities for, as you say, the underemployed as well. Like so I mean, even if you take the stay-at-home parent, right? That ordinarily might not work because they choose to stay at home and take care of the kids. Do
the most important job on the planet and raise your kids.
Job. I think that's a scenario where some of these stay-at-home parents could say, hey, I could do that little job. I could do that errand. I could do this, that. And a little extra income for any family is good. These days. So.
Think about the micro capabilities of something like this, like Roamler or Gigwalk or Airrun or any of these guys. Is that if I'm a brand, like a small brand, like a coffee roaster, or or a big brand, and I'm on a Loblaws shelf or something like that, and I want to make sure that the placement of my product is where it should be on all the stores. I could hire a team of people who are using something like Roamler or Gigwalk to go in every time they go shopping and take a picture of our product on the shelf and send it to us so that we can make sure that we're actually getting the placement that was promised.
Yep.
Right, and that the display is working, or whatever it is. Every time you see our brand displayed in this store, take a picture of it, send it to us, we'll get paid. This is a great way just to make sure that the brand that you're selling, or the brand is getting the play that it should, or it's paying for. And I love that. I think that there's a massive amount of opportunity with these guys.
Huge opportunities.
Roamler.com, love them. So if you're out there, Roamler, we love you.
We do.
We love you. Last thing of the day, our resource of the week. A weird place to find this in the franchising space, but this is BJ Emerson, and a great article.
Yeah. So BJ's, he's one of these guys that, he's with a company called Tasty Delight, which is a franchise ice cream chain, in the New York area. So they're not all over the place, but they have a number of locations on the East Coast. And BJ's one of those guys who was kind of really early into Foursquare and kind of using it, and as a result of that, became one of the case studies for a lot of the books that were published in the last year, in this space. So location-based marketing for dummies, with Aaron and Mike, and several others, reference the stuff that Tasty Delight has done, and he's spoken at a lot of conferences. So what I want to pull out this week is he wrote a really just a fairly simple piece, and you'll put up the link
at franchise.org.
Yeah, it's at franchise.org. A really simple piece that BJ wrote, and what I like about it is that it just, in a couple of paragraphs, it just addresses the key questions that if you're a franchise chain, you're a small or big franchise chain, and you're thinking about getting into location-based marketing, he says, he answers the key questions from his perspective as an experienced guy that's done it. What network should I use? How do I get started? So I've claimed my place. I claimed my business. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Like the really basics of what you should be thinking about when you're a franchisor. And so great little resource, I think, if you're in that space.
Yeah, and we often forget that while we might have a deeper understanding of what is necessary and why people will want to use this, people who aren't in the mobile industry, who are looking at this from the outside, need these refreshers, need the 101 version of where to start, how to benefit, what it means. And I've seen a lot of these articles coming up now, so it leads me to believe that a lot of these companies are taking it seriously, because I know that Foursquare just announced their 400,000th enterprise that is using their Foursquare, the Foursquare business service, and
right.
And so it's starting to accelerate. It's a tiny nugget of the number of businesses that are out there on the planet, but I think that these stories, these articles, distilling it down to its simplest essence on how to get involved with this very quickly and relate it to something like franchising, love it. I expect that we'll start to see this for, like, hey, if you're a dry cleaner, these are the three things you have to do to leverage location-based services to drive activity.
Absolutely.
So,
somebody's going to be the location-based dry cleaning expert.
There is. I mean, there's an opportunity. I'm writing that down. I'm going to take that right now. I'm going to become the location-based. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's my burning desire. That's it.
We're done.
We are done. Episode number 33, killed, destroyed. And all under 40 minutes, which is great for us. Next week we attack episode number 34. I know that Asif, you're heading out on vacation, much deserved. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Travel with the family.
We'll still get this done.
Somehow, Asif will come back relaxed. We'll have no stories, but we'll come back relaxed. Yeah, so of course you can find Asif at thelbma.com or at thelbma on Twitter, or at AsifRKhan, both on Twitter and .com. And I am at robwoodbridge.com or on tether.tv or at robwoodbridge on Twitter. You can find me anywhere. We love to hear feedback. You love the show, you hate the show. Who do you want us to talk about? You got a product that you want featured here? Send us an email at untether@gmail.com or at asif@thelbma.com. We'll feature it. We answer all the email we get. And we love feedback from you guys. So I don't want to beg, but please send us a note.
Absolutely. Yeah, bring it and let us know what you want us to talk about. So
we love it. Until next week, Asif, where we hit episode number 34. Enjoy your vacation, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, over and out.